So excited to have you here. For those of you who are watching, you'll see a black tail whipping back and forth. That is Olive. If you're listening, we're going to do our best to not let her distract us. Kelsey, I'm so excited to have you here. Kelsey is the sister of a dear friend of mine, which automatically promotes you to a dear friend of mine as
Yay.
well. She is a best-selling author and a transformational facilitator. So we are going to have a juicy conversation today.
Yes.
Juicy, by the way. We were laughing about this word the other day.
Yes.
Okay, Kelsey. So I definitely want to know like your story and how you got here and more about what you do, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. And I want to start off by asking you, what is inspiring you right now? Like what is next for you? Because you've obviously accomplished a lot and we're going to go into all of that, but what's the focus right now? What's inspiring you and what are you creating? What's next?
Yeah, like personally or professionally or both.
Whatever feels most relevant, whatever you feel most
Okay.
called to share right now. No
Okay.
wrong answer.
So I'll just share a little bit of both. So personally, I'm creating a whole new life with my fiance. We're about to get married, so that's super exciting. We just moved into our first home, which was a new build that we got to like customize. We live on 2 acres and we're just like building our homestead, about to get a dog. So, we're just building our beautiful life here in the Carolinas. So that's been obviously really relevant and is still a major theme in my life. And professionally, I've been working on a course called Money Magnetics to help people manifest more money, to release their money blockages, because I've really been feeling psychically like this call from the collective and from humanity to like really master their money. People are done with just surviving. Like, we want to thrive. And why not? Life is too short. So I'm spilling all my money manifesting secrets in that. And I was literally working on it all day today. So that's fresh on my mind.
Oh, perfect. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And there's literally no better time than right now for something like this. And I like to think that being a little more like sensitive and tuned into your creative process, it's like you get these ideas and it's like if you follow that thread, if you follow those creative ideas, people are asking for it. It's not just, about you and the idea that drops in for you. So the fact that you're inspired to create this money course now, I'm sure that on a psychic level, there are a lot of people that are asking for this from you. So I'm super excited to see more about that coming.
I'm glad you said that too, because I'm always trying to tell people like your genuine desires are not only about you. Like, you're just one part of the equation. So if you're wanting to write that book, create that course, be with that soulmate, like there are other people on the receiving end of that desire who are asking for the answers that are in the book or the course. Your other half is like out there asking for you, same time you're asking for them. Like, and to withhold yourself from your desires, you're not only hurting yourself, but you're hurting everyone that would benefit from the desire being fulfilled.
Oh, mic drop already. Starting off with the mic drop. No,
So
I
I'm glad
agree.
you said that, because I'm always trying to tell people that like it's not just about you. Like, your desires are so much bigger. You have a duty to humanity to follow through on them.
So true. So true. And it's so incredible to see just the people and the resources and the ideas come together when you just start to move with it.
Yes.
So is that what led you here? Tell us. You are a best-selling author. You have multiple books out there. You are a podcaster, transformational coach, content creator. What do you not do? What is the
um
path? Like, how did you get here?
yeah, so to answer your question, I'm a terrible singer, so I don't do that. I save everybody
Okay, all
from
right.
the singing. I used to be a dancer though, and it's funny because my mom would be like, if I would sing in the car, like it was literally so bad, my own mother would be like, Kelsey, like maybe you should stick to dancing. That's really where like your genius lies. And I'm like, Mom, just trying to have a fun moment. Okay. I'm sorry for hurting your ears.
Oh,
But
that's so funny. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm very multi-passionate, and everything I do is really to make the world a better, more beautiful place full of more harmony, more heaven on earth, less unnecessary suffering, and just more alignment in general, whether it's personal for specific people that I'm helping or just on a bigger level for the collective energy work that I'm doing, or ways that I'm helping people to shift that's affecting everybody. So that's just really what I'm here for. And it kind of all started because, well, really, I've had like two pretty noteworthy spiritual awakenings. And the first one happened when I was in my late teens, early adulthood, and I was suffering from depression, like really bad, like to the point of being suicidal. And luckily, I never like attempted suicide, but I definitely fantasized about it. Like, oh, if only I could just end my suffering, like, oh, it'd be so much better than like this, right? And at one point, I just remembered that like I didn't always feel that way. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm not a depressed person. Like, what is happening to me? This is a very strange thing. Like, how did I get here? Why am I stuck here? How can I feel better? I really need to figure out how to enjoy my life. And when I started asking those questions and asking for help from life and from the universe, I was obviously given resources, perspectives, support, breakthroughs to help me climb out of that hole. So when I was able to get out of the depression, which was like the whole journey, but basically in that journey, I learned so much stuff that I just wanted to share with everyone. I was like, oh, everybody needs to know. Like, why isn't everybody empowered? Why aren't they teaching this in school? Why don't people know how to work with their thoughts and work with energy, work with their emotions? Like, this is crazy. And it was working for me so well. And I've always been someone who could really like digest information, master it in my own life, and then regurgitate it in a simplified form. So I've just always been doing that ever since that moment. And that's when I decided I wanted to be an author. So here we are, I think 5 books later and counting, because there's a lot more that I want to write.
Yes.
And yeah, the second spiritual awakening that also like shifted things for me was in my, I think I was like 24, and I had just gone through a really painful breakup with one of my soulmates, like my first love, and it just didn't work out. And we were on different trajectories and it just wasn't compatible anymore. And that really like broke my heart wide open, and it never closed. Like my heart just stayed open. I basically had like a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. I became like a psychic medium overnight, and all this information was just like coming through because the pain had broken me all the way open. And so now I get to use those gifts in the work that I'd already been doing before. But now it's like another level using those intuitive gifts and pieces of information that I'm able to gather more deeply now, I guess.
Wow. Wow. Your story is incredible. And I really appreciate you just being honest about your story. And this is what I love about starting this question with, okay, here's the end point and here's what's next. And here's all these exciting things that you're creating. You moved into your dream home, you have your soulmate, like best-selling author. And then to pull it all the way back to the seed of what got you here and that feeling of on the duality of that reality, being on the total opposite side of where you are now, and how that was kind of the, again, the seed of all of this and all that you created, and starting to ask those questions is just so powerful. And I know that a lot of people listening can probably relate in their own way. So if someone is kind of in that space where they're starting to ask the bigger questions and they're ready to start to work with the universe in a bigger way, and they've decided they're ready for change, they're ready to feel better, to create new things in their life, like what were some of those questions that specifically you were asking yourself that started to open up your perspective more and more?
Yeah, I think the most important one was just clarifying like how I wanted to feel,
Mm.
because oftentimes we try to like create this dream life without focusing on the feelings, and we end up in this like means to an end cycle of like, oh, I thought this was going to help me feel this way, but you didn't like identify the end goal, which was the feeling. So then you do these things to try and feel these feelings, but you don't know that that's what you're trying to do. And then you might not be able to fully embody or accomplish it. So I think one of the most important questions is just to ask yourself, how you want to feel, and not like every second of every day, right? We can't expect ourselves to always feel happy, to always feel high vibe, to always feel super self-loving, but we can decide like, okay, I want to have a really happy life that's full of fulfillment and satisfaction and joy and ease and play and harmony. Whatever are the words that really feel just so like relief giving and life giving and expansive
Mhm.
to you, I would start by asking what those are and
Mhm.
then go from there. Because once you know the feelings, you can, well, the follow up question would be like, okay, why aren't I feeling those feelings right now? Like, what's stopping me from feeling those feelings? Is it that I'm living a life that's not true to me? Is it that I'm in the wrong job? Is it that I'm telling myself some lie that's holding me back? Is it that I'm not allowing myself to feel good because I think something bad will happen if I do? Like, there's so many ways that we are not lined up with how we want to feel. So, if you can troubleshoot that, then it becomes that much easier to allow those feelings, start cultivating them more, start embodying them more now. And then everything you thought you wanted to manifest in order to feel those feelings will actually come, but it'll just be like a happy side effect of going directly for what you actually wanted, which was to feel better.
Ooh, powerful. And just a beautiful example of being able to put this in simplistic terms, but this work is so powerful, and I can really attest to that self inquiry. Like, not
Yes.
only are you asking yourself, okay, well, how do I want to feel, rather than what do I need to do, or what do I need to change, what action do I need to take, what do I want to feel? And like, just side note, this is something for me that I do like 10 to 100 times a day.
Yes. You can
Like,
do it on the macro or the micro, and it's always
right.
beneficial.
Yeah, yeah. And the more that you do that, the more you really create this like intimacy with yourself and your soul. And you can do like, okay, I'm about to get on this call. How do I want to feel? I'm about to go to the gym. How do I want to feel at the gym? So just a little side note, you can start this on a micro level, but something that you said that I love so much is to ask yourself to identify what's relief giving, because it can be, I think there's definitely like a misconception in the manifestation space of it's all light, or just think positive, or just say, just think positive. And it's like, well, if that doesn't actually resonate with where you are in your journey, and you're trying to think positive or feel an emotion that's so far from where you are, what's relief giving? Like, that's a really powerful question. What can I think right now? What can I feel right now that would just give me a little sense of relief? And then that almost like opens up all of the doors. So I love that you said that.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, because if we look at vibration and emotions, you're not always a vibrational match to thinking a positive thought or feeling a good way, right? So if you're feeling like super shitty and you're trying to use some affirmation that's supposed to make you feel amazing, or you're trying to convince yourself that your life is awesome, like that's not going to resonate with you in that moment, right? So instead, what can you say? What can you think? What can you believe that gives you relief in that moment? Something like, oh, this is only temporary. It's not going to last forever. Exhale. You just open yourself to
Mm.
possibility. So don't
Mhm.
underestimate the power of going towards relief, because if you're not in the right mindset or the vibrational space to go for like the ultimate high that you're looking for, you can get there, but it's incremental. So first, go for the relief, and then you can work your way up.
Ooh, I love that. I love that so much. So I want to switch gears a little bit now that we have some wisdom for starting to create really big things in your life. So I want to speak to, again, I told you I was probably gonna be a little bit selfish on this on this interview. Someone who is maybe thinking about either writing a book, or, and I want to learn more about your book, your most recent book, the one that you're writing right now. Maybe thinking about writing a book or some other like big creative project that's gonna be, life altering. When you create something like that, and the journey that you go on to bring a big vision to life like that, I'm sure is transformational in itself. So what advice would you give somebody who's wanting to like take on a bigger project, and maybe even sharing like a little bit of your creative process and the book that you're working on now, and kind of how that's coming to play?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so many facets to this question. Okay, where do I start? So I'll start with first pieces of advice. If you want to take on a big project and birth something magical into the world that's just like calling to your soul, go back to the beginning of this episode and re-listen to what I said about not denying yourself your heart's desires and that it's not only about you. Okay. So that's like motivational piece number one. And you have to give yourself permission to do it, go for it, birth it, create it. Then, after you've done that, it's a matter of, I would say, keeping the end goal in mind. Like, what's the purpose of the book? Are you writing the book to attract more clients? Are you writing the book so you can do speaking gigs? Are you writing the book just so lots of people will read it? Are you writing the book just so you can prove to yourself that you can write a book? Like, what's the goal of the project, right? There's so many different reasons to write a book in this example. So, being clear on that. And then I would say, for me, this is like my creative process and something that I recommend because I think it works well, is to think of the message you want to deliver. So, well, this is like book specific. So think of the message you want to deliver. Usually for me, when I think of a message, like the title comes to me first before anything, but that's just like my creative download process, I suppose. And then you have to deconstruct like what needs to be in this in order for it to deliver the message. So then you would have like sections or chapters. And then from there, you have to actually execute, which is the hardest part.
Oh yeah.
Which is not a matter of
Relate.
like sitting down with a blank Word document and being like, I'm going to write a book today. Like that is way too daunting. Like that is entirely too much pressure. It will give you writer's block, like right from the start. So I think a better approach is to maybe create an outline. Here's my title. Here's some of the things I want to say in the book. Here's some chapters I know I want to include, maybe kind of work the order a little bit. And then once you have like a good general outline, just start one chapter at a time. Like this week, I'm working on this chapter. Next week, I'm working on that chapter. And you'd be surprised how quickly you can finish it once you break it down into more bite-sized pieces.
Oh, so good. So good. An experience I had when I love it. Like, first of all, you're giving yourself permission to kind of recap that. You're giving yourself permission. Yeah. Like, okay, I have this idea for a reason, and trusting that, deciding you're going to go for it. So there's that initial decision, getting clear on the intention, the why, that like intrinsic motivation, and then breaking it down into those little steps. I find that when I just start to move, it almost like starts to come to life itself. There's like a force, there's something that's happening that once you start to take those few steps, then it starts to create itself. So it's really cool to hear that that's kind of how your creative process has been. So right now,
you don't have to know the whole process too. Like how you're saying, like let it be revealed. Just start somewhere. Start going.
Just start, which is the hardest part. Okay, so what do you recommend when you're in that place of, okay, I made the decision, the intention is there, the starting? Like, how do you get past that resistance? What's your resistance,
Yeah.
Jen?
Yeah. Getting past the resistance, getting past the procrastination. Honestly, this is my resistance releasing hack in all of life for anything you ever want. So, a lot of the reason why we don't go for things that we want is because we're afraid that we won't be able to handle the disappointment if it doesn't work out. So, a practice that I do and I help my clients through and I teach on my retreats is being friendly with your pain, which is not a sexy thing to teach someone or guide someone through, but it's the most powerful because when people can become comfortable in the uncomfortable, when they don't have to use their pain to make something like make a meaning that's negative about themselves or their life, like they can just allow that temporary uncomfortability to like move through their body without resisting it so much. They become almost like unaffected by it. They become so masterful at feeling their feelings that they're not scared to feel anything. And then having that confidence really gives you the freedom to do whatever you want without fear of it not working out. Because okay, even worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, like I can feel disappointed. I'll be fine. I'm resilient. I know how to feel my feelings. I know how to love myself through the process. And that's a level of freedom that I feel that very few people have tasted. But I promise you, it's so magical and potent. And it's not the sexy answer, but it has helped me and my clients to go for anything because then you're not afraid.
Oof, oh, chills on that. It's like a muscle. It's
Yeah,
like a muscle
exactly.
that you exercise. And yeah, I love that you're speaking to the unsexy work, because freedom is a lot of people are talking about, like job freedom and being, how freedom, time freedom, and especially in the manifestation and spiritual space, that inner liberation, that inner freedom, while it is a gift and it's a very special thing, and you will start to kind of experience that on a day-to-day basis when you are consistently meeting yourself in the unsexy work when needed, and it's not like you have to spend all of your time there, but like if you're feeling again and again that resistance to creating the things you want to be creating, like for example a book or a big project, maybe that's your invitation, instead of trying to like push through and like I will get through this procrastination, or I will force myself, or being hard on yourself, like you said, befriending that the pain that may actually your mind thinks is not related
Yeah, and like
to
getting
the thing.
curious, like, why am I procrastinating this? What bad thing do I think is gonna happen if I like actually do it?
Oof.
You know?
Oh, yeah, that's been a big journey for me. Definitely just that, like ultimately like that deep fear of the fear of shame of being wrong or failing, or what if I can't do it, or what if I'm not cut out for it, or the things that I want aren't meant for me. And it's, spoiler alert, what if you desire it? Taking this again back to the beginning of this conversation, if you desire it, it's meant for you. So really just getting real about those fears. I love that so much. So tell what how do you think your message has, whether it's evolved or maybe it's gotten more clear, but as you've like put it into these books,
Yeah.
do you have kind of like a
There is
through
kind of like an
line?
evolution. Yeah. So the
Yeah.
first book was called #Actually I Can, The Art of Affirming Yourself to Greatness. And that affirmation, actually I can, like I can do anything, like why not me type of vibe, was really what helped me out of my depression. And when I was speaking earlier about, your vibration and not being a vibrational match to affirmations that are like way ahead of where you're at vibrationally, I really wanted to create an affirmation Bible that worked alongside the emotional guidance scale and was like, here's how to do affirmations in an authentic way where you can affirm things that actually resonate with you no matter how you're feeling, no matter the topic of your life. So, for example, like if you're feeling shitty about your finances, there's like an exact page in the book of like all these affirmations that will help you to feel slightly less shitty. Not amazing, but slightly less, right? Moving towards relief.
Relief,
Um,
yeah.
so that's really like a guidebook. And then that one was self-published. So I was like, I ain't waiting for permission. I ain't waiting for no publisher. Like, I'm going to make this book a reality. So that one I self-published. And then the second book is called Affirmations for Happiness, another affirmation book, because to me, like self-talk, mantras, perspective shifting is so powerful. So I'm like forever obsessed with affirmations. And Simon and Schuster actually reached out to me in my email inbox and was like, "Hey, we have this series of books on affirmations. We've have some on like affirmations for morning time, nighttime. Like we want to make one about happiness. Like, will you write it? You seem like this affirmation queen." And I was like, yeah." So then I wrote them the affirmation guidebook called Affirmations for Happiness, which is almost like an oracle deck where you can just like flip to any page and there's a beautiful like saying that you can try on, and then there's like a little paragraph under it where you can just like go a little deeper into it. So that one's like a little pocket of sunshine. None of the first couple of books are too wordy. They're not super like 70,000 words, like turning lots of pages. No, they're more like beautiful to look at, little bits and pieces of wisdom here and there. And then the next book, I'm like losing order because there's so many. Which one was next? The next one was
No
called
problem to have.
the next one was called My Pocket Guide to Manifestation, which is also a part of a series. And I wanted it to be like almost like a recipe book for like new baby witches who like want to get into manifesting, but they don't really know how. And they're not sure like different types of intention setting ways that they can partake in. So it's broken down into like area of life. So like a chapter for manifesting more money, for manifesting your soulmate, for getting clear on your purpose, for manifesting more happiness, like the major things that like most people would want to experience out of life. And
Yeah.
that one is like a how to, a guidebook with like many, many practices. And then I was
Which
like,
which is so powerful. We need the practical. We need the
yeah, we need the
practical. Yeah.
practical and we need to
Yeah.
keep it simple. And each one's just like a
Mhm.
couple of steps, like it's nothing crazy.
Mhm.
So that one's really fun and effective. And then I'm obsessed with scripting, journaling, writing. For me, like, I don't know about you, I feel like you're a
Yes.
journaler too.
Mhm. Mhm.
But whenever I want to create something new or manifest a new experience in my life, the first thing I do is write it down, take myself there, future pace, like, ah, thank you, universe, for this awesome, blah, blah, blah. I'm so happy to be experiencing this. I feel X, Y, and Z. This is awesome. I love my life, whatever. And so that had always been a major practice of mine. So I created Letters to the Universe, which is a manifesting journal, a scripting journal, and it has like perforated pages and it has like guiding questions so you can like get clear, release a little resistance, align your energy with what you're wanting to create. Then you write a letter to the universe. You can tear it out, burn it, sleep with it, get what you with it, do what you want. Um, and then I just self-published another one because I was making this freebie. Honestly, it was just meant to be like a freebie for my website, but then it evolved and it got so long. I was like, this is literally a book, so I might as well just like publish it into a book.
Yeah, it had a life of its own. Yeah.
Yep, it just
Oh,
wanted
there's
to
more hair.
be a book. So that one's called The Mini Book of Self-Love for the Modern Woman. And in that one, I share three of the most like potent self-love practices and some work that people can start doing. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the evolution of the books. It's shifted from like affirmations to manifestation to self-love. And now the one that I'm working on right now is like the book that you would read once you've read a bunch of books on manifestation, but you're still not like masterful at it. And you're like, where's my stuff? Why isn't it happening? What the F? I set my intentions. I did my
Sky Daddy.
affirmations.
What's going on?
I made a vision board. Like I did everything. Why isn't it working? You know?
Yeah.
And that one actually, my sister helped me to name the book. So shout out to Sabrina. It's called Why the Law of Attraction Works for Some People, but not you. And it's basically
Oh,
like
I
a
love that.
resistance troubleshooting guide. And that one is going to be long and wordy with many chapters.
Oh, I cannot wait to get my hands on that.
Yes.
So it sounds like you have this entire toolkit of people at any stage, for people at any stage in their spiritual journey, which is so beautiful. And just something about that story and the evolution of your work that stood out to me is that first initial decision that you made to self-publish, and then how right after that, then you were invited to write a book, and how it's just a beautiful example of you showing the universe, like, I'm saying yes to this. I'm ready to become the person who is, I'm ready to become the author, and how kind of the resources started to come in. And then it was just the next idea after the next idea, and it just kind of grew from there, which is so beautiful. Um, so I have like more of a personal question on this. Like, how do you think that you as a teacher and as a guide, and just in your identity, your self-concept, how have you changed? How have you evolved through witnessing your work come through in these different books and all the things that you've created?
Yeah. How have I evolved? That's a great question. I think that I've become a lot more secure and confident and just like seeing the results and seeing my gifts in action and seeing the transformation that takes place, whether it's at a retreat or a reader writes me a testimonial of like, this happened to me after I wrote your book, like 72 hours after, like I get all these cool stories. Or someone listens to a podcast episode and something I say really resonates with them and changes their perspective forever. Like that I live for. I live for affecting other people in a positive, beneficial way. And I think just over the years, I've become more confident just seeing how my work really has been efficient in people's lives and how it really has helped them. Because at first, I always knew what I was teaching was good and was true and was helpful for me, right? But it wasn't until I really started putting it out there and seeing the results that each time I do anything that helps someone, I'm like, damn, I knew this work was fire. And there it is again. So I think I'm just feeling more confident and also like more unapologetic because in the beginning, I used to be like, oh, I don't want to make some people mad. Like, this is spiritual stuff. Like, people's spiritual beliefs are like very near and dear to their heart. Like, I don't want to piss anyone off. I don't want to like poop on anyone's beliefs. I don't want to tell them they're wrong. But now I'm just like, fuck it. If they don't like me, like there's other teachers out there. They don't have to follow me on social media. No one's like putting headphones to their ear, like, you have to listen to this podcast or else we're gonna kill you. Like, like everybody has a choice. So if they don't like it, they can leave. Like, that's fine. So I think over the years, that's been something too that's progressed, which is nice because having less pressure to like be everything to everyone, it feels better.
Oh my God. And I can just like feel that in my soul. And I know that
Hard.
it's so hard. And, something that like always comes out just, I used to say it all the time on like client calls and I'm like, I don't even know where this is coming from, but it's, you had it all along, or you knew all along. And it's like the things that when you really trust yourself and start to like step in to yourself more and more and trust your creations and your desires and your ideas, you look back and you're like, I always knew. Like
Yeah.
I always knew like this was like going to be part of my journey, or I always knew that like there was something special here. There was something big here. And it's just like the more that you move with it, the more you realize like you always knew. You just get, like, as you said, more unapologetic about it. And I know, I don't know, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I'm sure that most people listening to this can really relate and use that medicine of being more unapologetic, because your creations are waiting, your desires are waiting. The people who are going to be impacted by you just being authentic and being yourself and speaking your truth and seeing that you don't necessarily care if people like it or not, and you're still stepping in that, like, what a gift to the world. So just kudos to you. And I'm inspired by your journey and all that you've created. And I know that like we can learn so much from that again, that evolution of just being more and more unapologetic. So
Yeah, and you gotta let yourself create, especially if you're a creative being like me. I just feel like I can't even find enough ways to like express myself, get my point across, create something beautiful, make something new, change someone's mind about something for the better. Like, I can't get enough. So I'll just be creating and writing and probably doing this till I die.
mm-hmm.
Most likely.
Oh, I love that so much. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual, but not religious. There's a Bible verse that I'm going to butcher it, but it's basically, if you don't create what's within you will destroy you, which little dramatic, but like as a creative, I get it.
It
Like
makes
I
sense.
totally get it. If I'm like, I notice if I'm like more like irritable, or I'm feeling like foggy or unclear about things, it's like, what am I not saying? What am I not expressing? What am I not creating? So if you are a creative person, which I think most people who listen to this podcast definitely resonate with that or identify with that, like it doesn't matter what the end goal is, just trust yourself and just kind of move with it. So
Yes. Oh, this has been so good. I love it.
so good. So good. Kelsey, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. So I want to wrap up and let the peeps know, because I know they're inspired by you right now, and I know they want to buy your books and all the things. Where can they find you on social? Where can they learn more from you?
Yeah, I love that you said the peeps, because I always say that all the time on my show
You-
too. Was like
perfect.
I love my
I wonder, I'm a reflector. I think I told you that I'm a reflector, and I wonder if I like
picked it up in my vibe.
picked up, yeah.
Probably yes. That makes a lot of sense.
Because
So
I don't know if I don't even
you're
know.
like, I never used that word in my life until today.
Yeah, that's so funny. Totally picked it up.
Yes. So peeps, listen up.
Peeps,
You can find me.
where can they find you?
You can find me everywhere on social media as Kelsey Aida. Aida, like the opera, Aida. Usually I'm most active on Instagram. I'm getting my TikTok bearings, but I don't really know how I feel about it. I think it's kind of an annoying platform. So Instagram's my favorite. My blog, my books, my retreats, my courses, you can find all of that at kelseyaida.com. And what else? I mean, if you just go to like your local Barnes and Noble and ask them to search my name, hopefully there'll be a couple books there you can buy in person to support like actual bookstores from like going extinct. We don't want that. So I would encourage you to go shop for books at a bookstore, small or large. And yeah, my podcast is called Hi Vibin It, and we just had you on our show, which was so fun. So definitely look out for her episode. I believe it'll be about like either episode 192, 193, somewhere around there. You'll find Hannah's episode. And yeah, that's where you can find me. The podcast, the website, social. Yeah.
Amazing. So, last question for you. Feeling intuitively into somebody that's listening to this right now, what is your message to that one person? The last little nugget.
The little nugget. Okay, let me nug energy.
The gem, the nug. What else?
Yeah, the message that wants to come through is really just your feelings are valid, so feel them. Your desires are valid, so act on them. Give yourself permission there, and know that even if you don't feel that you're capable or you don't know how it's going to happen, you are capable and it can happen.
Oof, so good. So good. Yay, amazing. I know someone just felt that. They felt the heart ping.
You know who you are.
You know. Yes, it was for you, if you're wondering. Yes. Kelsey, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Yes, thank you. Such a pleasure.